Which religious group was emancipated from discrimination by the Roman Catholic Relief Act of 1829? Roman Catholics. The Roman Catholic Relief Act of 1829, often referred to as the Catholic Emancipation Act, was a significant piece of legislation passed by the Parliament of the United Kingdom. It largely removed the remaining legal restrictions on Roman Catholics in the UK, allowing them to sit in Parliament and hold various public offices. This act was a culmination of a long campaign for Catholic rights. What is the more commonly known name for Hansen's disease? Leprosy. Hansen's disease is the scientific and preferred term for leprosy, a chronic infectious disease caused by the bacterium Mycobacterium leprae. It primarily affects the skin, peripheral nerves, upper respiratory tract, eyes, and testes. Early diagnosis and treatment with multidrug therapy can cure the disease and prevent disabilities. Which aquatic creature includes varieties such as chinook, chum, coho, sockeye, and steelhead? Salmon. Chinook, chum, coho, sockeye, and steelhead are all prominent species or varieties of salmon, a commercially important ray-finned fish. These varieties are primarily found in the Pacific Ocean and are known for their anadromous life cycle, where they migrate from salt water to fresh water to spawn. Salmon are a vital part of many ecosystems and fisheries. The Golan Heights are disputed territory located on the border of which two countries? Syria and Israel. The Golan Heights is a strategically important plateau that was captured by Israel from Syria in the 1967 Six-Day War. While internationally recognized as Syrian territory under Israeli occupation, Israel unilaterally annexed the area in 1981, a move not widely recognized by the international community. The status of the Golan Heights remains a key point of contention in the Israeli-Syrian conflict. In which constituent part of the British Isles is Ronaldsway Airport located? Isle of Man. Ronaldsway Airport, also known as Isle of Man Airport, is the main civilian airport on the Isle of Man, a self-governing British Crown dependency in the Irish Sea. It serves as a vital transport link, connecting the island to various destinations in the United Kingdom and Ireland. The airport plays a crucial role in the island's economy and tourism. Which British monarch officially established Buckingham Palace as the principal royal residence, moving it from St. James's Palace? Queen Victoria. While Queen Victoria was the first monarch to make Buckingham Palace her official principal residence in 1837, the palace had been acquired by George III in 1761 and extensively renovated by George IV in the 1820s. Her decision cemented Buckingham Palace's status as the symbolic heart of the British monarchy, a role it maintains to this day. Which prominent aviator disappeared during an attempt to circumnavigate the globe by air in 1937? Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan. Amelia Earhart, a pioneering American aviation icon, vanished along with her navigator Fred Noonan over the central Pacific Ocean near Howland Island in July 1937, during an attempt to complete a circumnavigational flight. Their disappearance remains one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century. Numerous theories have been proposed, but no definitive evidence of their fate has ever been found. Which U.S. trade union boss vanished in Bloomfield, Michigan in July 1975? Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa was an influential American labor union leader who mysteriously disappeared in 1975, a case that remains unsolved and has been the subject of much speculation and investigation. He served as the president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. On which island is Adams Peak? Sri Lanka. Adams Peak, also known as Sri Pada, is a 2,243-meter, 7,359 feet conical mountain located in central Sri Lanka. It is revered as a holy site by followers of several religions, with a rock formation near the summit believed to be the footprint of Buddha, Shiva, or Adam, depending on the tradition. Which mountain is also known as Mont Cervin? The Matterhorn. The Matterhorn is a prominent mountain in the Alps, straddling the border between Switzerland and Italy. Its iconic pyramid shape makes it one of the most recognizable mountains in the world, and it is known as Mont Cervin in French and Monte Cervino in Italian. Sir John Houblon was the first governor of what? Bank of England. Sir John Houblon served as the first governor of the Bank of England, appointed in 1694. His appointment marked the establishment of one of the world's most influential central banks, playing a crucial role in the financial stability of the United Kingdom. Which crime used to be called lèse majesté, meaning injured majesty in French? Treason. Lèse majesté is an offense against the dignity of a reigning sovereign or a state. Historically, this concept often encompassed acts that would now be classified as treason, particularly those involving rebellion or attempts to overthrow the established government. The imaginary animals, yahoos, feature in which book? Gulliver's Travels. Yahoos are a race of fictional, brutish, and degenerate human-like creatures described in Jonathan Swift's satirical novel, Gulliver's Travels. They represent the basest aspects of humanity, serving as a harsh critique of human nature and society. Who composed the Scottish and Italian symphonies? Mendelssohn. Felix Mendelssohn, a renowned German composer of the early Romantic period, is celebrated for his Scottish Symphony, Symphony No. 3, and Italian Symphony, Symphony No. 4. These works reflect his travels and experiences, incorporating musical influences from the respective regions. What was founded by Alan Lane in 1935? Penguin Books. Alan Lane founded Penguin Books in 1935, revolutionizing the publishing industry by making quality literature accessible and affordable to the general public through paperback editions. The Brazilian wandering variety is the most poisonous in the world. What creature is it? Spider. The Brazilian wandering spider, genus Phonoitrea, is known for its potent neurotoxic venom, making it one of the most venomous spiders globally. Its bite can be dangerous, especially without medical intervention. Only 2 wild cats live wild in Europe. The wild cat itself is one. What is the other? Lynx. The European wild cat, Felis sylvestris, and various species of lynx, Eurasian lynx, Iberian lynx, are the only 2 genera of wild cats native to Europe. These predators play crucial roles in their respective ecosystems. What kind of creature is an addax? Antelope. An addax, Addax nasomaculatus, is a critically endangered species of desert antelope native to the Sahara Desert. It is characterized by its long, twisted horns and pale coat. Fungi do not have seeds. What do they have? Spores. Fungi reproduce primarily through spores, which are microscopic reproductive cells capable of developing into new organisms. Unlike seeds, spores do not contain an embryo or stored food reserves but are well adapted for dispersal by wind or water. Which term describes any 2 colors which together produce white light? Complementary. Complementary colors, when mixed in additive color systems, like light, combine to produce white light. Examples include red and cyan, green and magenta, or blue and yellow. Sterling silver contains 92.5 parts silver and 7.5 parts. What other metal? Copper. Sterling silver is an alloy composed of 92.5% silver and 7.5% other metals, usually copper. Copper is added to silver to increase its hardness and durability, as pure silver is too soft for practical use in most applications. Which tourist resort of Croatia was formerly known as Ragusa? Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik, a prominent city in Croatia on the Adriatic Sea, was historically known as Ragusa. It was the capital of the Republic of Ragusa, a powerful maritime republic that flourished from the 14th to the 19th centuries, renowned for its trade and diplomacy. Which European capital is situated at the point where Lake Malaring joins the Baltic Sea? Stockholm. Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, is uniquely situated on 14 islands at the junction of Lake Malaring and the Baltic Sea. This strategic geographical location has historically been vital for trade and defense, contributing to its development as a major European city. Which mountain range forms the backbone of Italy? Apennines. The Apennine Mountains are a mountain range consisting of parallel smaller chains extending about 1,200 kilometers, 750 miles, along the length of peninsular Italy. They form the geographical backbone of the country, influencing its climate, culture, and geological stability. Which relative of the giraffe has zebra-like stripes? Okapi. The okapi, Okapia johnstoni, is an artiodactyl mammal native to the northeast of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Central Africa. Although it possesses distinctive zebra-like stripes on its legs, it is the only living relative of the giraffe, sharing the family Giraffidae. Which U.S. city filed for bankruptcy in July? Detroit. Detroit, Michigan, filed for Chapter 9 municipal bankruptcy on July 18, 2013, marking the largest municipal bankruptcy filing in U.S. history by debt. The city faced severe financial challenges stemming from decades of industrial decline, population loss, and diminished tax revenues. Rachel Warander's Diamond gives what book its title? The Moonstone. The Moonstone is a 1868 novel by Wilkie Collins, often considered one of the earliest and most influential detective novels in the English language. The plot centers around a large, eponymous Indian diamond stolen from Rachel Warander's possession on her 18th birthday, initiating a complex and suspenseful investigation. Polydactylism is distinguished by extra what? Fingers or toes. Polydactyly, also known as polydactylism, is a congenital condition characterized by the presence of supernumerary, extra, fingers or toes on the hand or foot. This genetic anomaly can occur independently or as a feature of various syndromes, affecting the skeletal development of the limbs. Who announced his Great Leap Forward in 1958? Mao Zedong. The Great Leap Forward was an economic and social campaign by the Communist Party of China from 1958 to 1962, led by Mao Zedong. It aimed to rapidly transform China from an agrarian economy into a socialist society through industrialization and collectivization, but resulted in widespread famine and economic disaster. In Hockney's Mr. and Mrs. Clark and Percy, who or what is Percy? Cat. Mr. and Mrs. Clark and Percy is a prominent 1971 painting by British artist David Hockney, depicting fashion designer Ozzie Clark and textile designer Celia Birtwell. Percy is the couple's white cat, often interpreted as a symbol of domesticity or an observer within the scene. What name is given to a depiction of Mary holding the dead body of Christ? Pietà. A pietà is a subject in Christian art depicting the Virgin Mary cradling the dead body of Jesus Christ, most famously sculpted by Michelangelo. This iconic representation emphasizes Mary's grief and the sacrifice of Christ. In which U.S. state is Princeton University? New Jersey. Princeton University is a highly prestigious Ivy League research university located in Princeton, New Jersey, USA. Founded in 1746, it is one of the oldest and most distinguished universities in the United States, known for its academic excellence and research contributions. Which instrument was played by jazz artist Benny Goodman? Clarinet. Benny Goodman, often referred to as the King of Swing, was a celebrated American jazz clarinetist and bandleader. He played a crucial role in popularizing jazz music during the swing era of the 1930s and 1940s. What seven-letter word means, a Russian tea urn? Samovar. A samovar is a traditional heated metal container used to boil water and brew tea, especially popular in Russia and other Eastern European, Middle Eastern, and Central Asian countries. It is an integral part of Russian tea culture, symbolizing hospitality and tradition. Which of Beethoven's symphonies was nicknamed the Eroica? Third. Beethoven's Symphony No. 3 in E-flat major, Opus 55, is known as the Eroica, Heroic Symphony. Originally dedicated to Napoleon Bonaparte, Beethoven famously retracted the dedication upon learning of Napoleon's self-proclamation as emperor, altering the dedication to a heroic symphony, composed to celebrate the memory of a great man. It is considered a landmark work in the transition from the classical to the Romantic era. Which British dramatist wrote the 1945 play, An Inspector Calls? J.B. Priestley. J.B. Priestley's An Inspector Calls is a renowned British play first performed in 1945. It is a three-act drama that takes place on a single evening in April 1912 and focuses on the affluent Burling family, exploring themes of social responsibility, class, and morality as an inspector interrogates them about the suicide of a young working-class woman. Katrina, also known as David Balfour, was the sequel to which novel? Kidnapped. Katrina, or David Balfour, is a historical novel by Robert Louis Stevenson, published in 1893. It serves as the sequel to his earlier novel, Kidnapped, 1886, continuing the adventures of the protagonist, David Balfour, in 18th century Scotland and France, delving into political intrigue and personal growth. In what year did Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, die? 1861. Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, consort to Queen Victoria, died on December 14, 1861, at Windsor Castle. His death from suspected typhoid fever plunged Queen Victoria into a deep mourning period that lasted for the rest of her life, significantly impacting the British monarchy and public perception. If A represents alpha and B represents beta, which letter of the Greek alphabet does L represent? Lambda. The Greek alphabet is an ancient writing system that has been used for the Greek language since the late 9th or early 8th century BC. Lambda, is the 11th letter of the Greek alphabet, corresponding to the letter L in the Latin alphabet, and is often used in various fields of science and mathematics. What is the falcon's dive from a height onto its prey known as? Stoop. A stoop is the characteristic hunting dive of a falcon, where the bird rapidly descends from a great height to strike its prey in midair. This high-speed maneuver is a highly specialized hunting technique, enabling falcons to achieve remarkable speeds. What is a tercel? Male falcon. A tercel is the ornithological term for a male falcon. This designation is commonly used in falconry to distinguish the male from the female, which is typically larger. Who wrote the 1946 play, The Winslow Boy? Terence Rattigan. The Winslow Boy is a celebrated play written by British playwright Terence Rattigan, first performed in 1946. It is based on a real-life legal case from 1910, revolving around a young naval cadet accused of petty theft and his family's fight for justice. What does the word antediluvian mean, literally? Before the flood. The word antediluvian literally translates to before the flood, specifically referring to the period prior to the biblical Great Flood. Metaphorically, it is used to describe something extremely old-fashioned, ancient, or primitive. Mount Egmont, also known as Mount Taranaki, is located in which country? New Zealand. Mount Egmont, officially known as Mount Taranaki, is an active but dormant stratovolcano in the Taranaki region of the North Island of New Zealand. It is one of New Zealand's most symmetrical volcanic cones, frequently compared to Mount Fuji in Japan. Which of the 4 provinces of Ireland is the most populous? Leinster. Leinster is the most populous of the 4 provinces of Ireland, located in the east of the island. It encompasses the capital city of Dublin, which significantly contributes to its high population density and economic activity. Which strait separates Tierra del Fuego from mainland South America? Magellan. The Strait of Magellan is a navigable sea route in southern Chile, separating mainland South America to the north and the Tierra del Fuego archipelago to the south. It is named after Ferdinand Magellan, who first navigated it in 1520 during his circumnavigation of the globe. In the heroic poem, The Song of Roland, who is Roland's best friend whose name starts with O? Oliver. Oliver is Roland's best friend and a pivotal character in The Song of Roland, an epic poem based on the Battle of Roncesvalles Pass in 778. He is often depicted as the voice of prudence and wisdom, contrasting with Roland's more impetuous bravery. Henry Morton Stanley was born in which country? Wales. Sir Henry Morton Stanley was a renowned Welsh journalist and explorer, famous for his expeditions in Central Africa. He is best known for his search for the missionary and explorer David Livingstone, which culminated in the famous encounter where he reportedly uttered, "Dr. Livingstone, I presume?" Christopher Columbus was born in 1451 in which city and former republic? Genoa. Christopher Columbus was born in Genoa, a prominent maritime republic, in 1451. His voyages across the Atlantic Ocean initiated widespread European exploration and colonization of the Americas, profoundly altering global history. What one word is the Latin for all? Omnibus. The Latin word omnibus translates to for all or for everyone. It is also the root of the English word omnibus, referring to a collection of things or a public vehicle carrying many passengers. What Latin phrase refers to a vital condition, something absolutely necessary? Sine qua non. The Latin phrase sine qua non literally translates to without which not. It denotes an essential condition or an indispensable element, without which a particular outcome or action is impossible. What is the more common name given to the illness parotitis? Mumps. Parotitis is the medical term for the inflammation of the parotid glands, most commonly known as mumps. Mumps is a contagious viral infection that typically affects children and is preventable by the MMR vaccine. Including the positives and negatives, there are 8 blood groups. Which is the rarest? AB negative. Human blood is classified into 8 main groups based on the presence or absence of antigens. AB negative is generally considered the rarest blood type globally, making it highly valuable for transfusions. Who is the first female in line of succession to the British throne? Princess Beatrice. The British line of succession determines the order in which members of the royal family would inherit the throne. While Princess Beatrice of York is in the line of succession, currently 9th, Princess Charlotte is presently the first female in the direct line, following her father, Prince William. This order is governed by the Succession to the Crown Act 2013. In which year did Maggie Thatcher become Prime Minister? 1979. Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in 1979, leading the Conservative Party to a significant electoral victory. Her tenure, lasting until 1990, made her the longest-serving British Prime Minister of the 20th century. In what year of the 1950s did the Suez Crisis occur? 1956. The Suez Crisis was a major international diplomatic and military confrontation in 1956 concerning the nationalization of the Suez Canal by Egyptian President Jamal Abdel Nasser. This event highlighted the decline of British and French imperial influence and marked a significant moment in the Cold War and post-colonial history. What was the surname of the President of Egypt during the 1956 Suez Crisis? Nasser. Jamal Abdel Nasser served as the second president of Egypt from 1956 until his death in 1970. He was a central figure in the Suez Crisis, where his decision to nationalize the Suez Canal led to a major international conflict and solidified his role as a leading proponent of Arab nationalism. Besides ballet, what was the other frequent subject in Edgar Degas' paintings? Horse racing. Edgar Degas, a prominent French Impressionist artist, is well known for his depictions of ballet dancers, capturing their movement and life behind the scenes. However, he also had a significant fascination with horse racing, which he frequently portrayed, showcasing his interest in dynamic subjects and modern life. In Greek mythology, Nike was the goddess who personified what concept? Victory. Nike is the ancient Greek goddess of victory, often depicted as a winged figure. She is a prominent symbol in Greek mythology, representing triumph in various contexts such as war, athletic competitions, and artistic endeavors. Which of the muses was responsible for dance? Terpsichore. In Greek mythology, Terpsichore is one of the 9 muses, personifying dance and choral song. She is often depicted with a lyre, accompanying dancers with her music, and is considered the patron of dance. What was Eva Peron's maiden name? Duarte. Maria Eva Duarte de Perón, commonly known as Eva Perón or Evita, was a prominent Argentine political leader, activist, and First Lady of Argentina. She was a powerful advocate for labor rights and women's suffrage, playing a crucial role in Argentine politics during the mid-20th century. Which element holds the third position in the periodic table? Lithium. Lithium, Li, is an alkali metal with atomic number 3 and is the third element in the periodic table. It is the lightest metal and the least dense solid element, playing a crucial role in rechargeable batteries for portable electronic devices and electric vehicles. Which ancient Greek mathematician famously asserted the possibility of moving the earth with a sufficiently long lever? Archimedes. Archimedes, a prominent ancient Greek mathematician and physicist, is renowned for his statement, "Give me a place to stand, and a lever long enough, and I will move the world." This maxim succinctly illustrates the principle of leverage and its potential to amplify force. In which part of the human body is the stapedius, the smallest skeletal muscle, located? The ear. The stapedius muscle, located within the middle ear, is officially recognized as the smallest skeletal muscle in the human body. Its primary function is to stabilize the stapes, stirrup bone, and dampen excessive vibrations, thereby protecting the inner ear from loud noises. What type of animal is a taipum? A snake. Taipans are a genus of highly venomous snakes native to Australia and New Guinea. Known for their extreme toxicity and rapid strike, species like the inland taipum are considered among the deadliest land snakes globally. In geometry, what term describes a line that touches a curve or curved surface at a single point without intersecting it? Tangent. In geometry, a tangent is a line that intersects a curve at exactly one point, known as the point of tangency, without crossing through it. For a circle, the tangent line is always perpendicular to the radius at the point of contact. According to the book of Genesis, to which land did Cain depart after the slaying of Abel? The land of Nod. In the biblical narrative of Genesis, following Cain's murder of his brother Abel, God exiled him. Cain subsequently journeyed to the land of Nod, on the east of Eden, a region whose exact geographical and spiritual interpretation remains a subject of theological discussion. The tarbush is another name for which hat? Fez. The fez, also known as a tarbush, is a traditional felt cap, typically red and conical with a tassel. It originated in Morocco and became popular throughout the Ottoman Empire, serving as a symbol of identity and tradition in many parts of North Africa and the Middle East. Which famous World War II British invention had the codename Upkeep? Bouncing bomb. The bouncing bomb, codenamed Upkeep, was a novel weapon developed by British engineer Barnes Wallis during World War II. It was designed to skip across water surfaces to destroy enemy dams, most notably used by RAF 617 Squadron in Operation Chastise, the Dam Busters raid, in 1943. What term is used for the application of gold or silver to a surface in a fine pattern? Filigree. Filigree is a delicate form of jewelry metalwork, usually of gold or silver, made with tiny beads or twisted threads, or both in combination, soldered together. This intricate art form creates an open, lace-like pattern, often used for decorative purposes on various surfaces and in ornamental jewelry. What was the predominant decorative style of the 1920s and 30s? Art Deco. Art Deco was a dominant decorative art style that emerged in France in the 1910s and flourished internationally in the 1920s and 1930s. Characterized by rich colors, bold geometric shapes, and lavish ornamentation, it encompassed architecture, furniture, fashion, and visual arts, symbolizing modernity and glamour. What is the most common type of rock formed from lava flows? Basalt. Basalt is an extrusive igneous rock, which forms from the rapid cooling of lava at or near the Earth's surface. It is the most common rock type in the Earth's oceanic crust and is also found in many continental flood basalt provinces. Which flat-topped upland has a name that is Spanish for table? Mesa. A mesa is an isolated flat-topped hill or mountain with steep sides, common in arid and semi-arid regions. The term mesa originates from the Spanish word for table, describing its characteristic flat-topped shape. Who was chained to a rock by Zeus for giving fire to the human race? Prometheus. Prometheus is a prominent figure in Greek mythology, a titan known for his benevolence towards humanity. He defied the Olympian gods by stealing fire from Mount Olympus and bestowing it upon mortals, for which Zeus condemned him to eternal torment, chained to a rock with an eagle consuming his liver daily. Which country's national anthem is the Soldier's Song? Republic of Ireland. The Soldier's Song, known as Amran na Bhfi An, in Irish, is the national anthem of the Republic of Ireland. Adopted in 1926, it was originally a marching song for the Irish volunteers and reflects the nation's struggle for independence. Which 1932 novel is the most famous work of writer Stella Gibbons? Cold Comfort Farm. Cold Comfort Farm is a satirical novel by Stella Gibbons, published in 1932, and is her most renowned work. It parodies popular rural novels of the time, often depicting grim realism, and won the Prix Féminin y Heures Anglais award. What is a valetudinarian constantly worried about? His or her health. A valetudinarian is an individual who is excessively concerned with their own health, often to the point of hypochondria. This term describes someone who is habitually weak, sickly, or overly anxious about potential illnesses. What is the divine nickname for the elusive Higgs boson? The God particle. The Higgs boson, a fundamental particle in the Standard Model of Particle Physics, is popularly nicknamed the God particle. This moniker, coined by physicist Leon Lederman, refers to its crucial role in giving other fundamental particles mass and its initial elusive nature before its confirmation at CERN in 2012. Who composed the Resurrection Symphony and the Symphony of 1000? Mahler. Gustav Mahler was an Austrian late Romantic composer and conductor, renowned for his large-scale symphonies. The Resurrection Symphony, Symphony No. 2, and the Symphony of 1000, Symphony No. 8, are among his most famous and monumental works, reflecting his profound philosophical and spiritual concerns. Which opera is set aboard HMS Indomitable? Billy Budd. Billy Budd is an opera by Benjamin Britten, based on Herman Melville's novella of the same name. It is set aboard the British warship HMS Indomitable in 1797, exploring themes of innocence, evil, and justice in a confined maritime world. What kind of flower is a lady's slipper? Orchid. A lady's slipper is a distinctive type of orchid belonging to the subfamily Cypripedioideae. These exquisite flowers are characterized by their unique pouch-shaped petals, which resemble a slipper, and are found in various temperate and tropical regions worldwide. What is the alternative name for the larkspur? Delphinium. Larkspur is the common name for flowering plants of the genus Delphinium, belonging to the buttercup family, Ranunculaceae. These plants are widely cultivated for their striking, often blue or purple, flower spikes and are native to the northern hemisphere. What name is given to the dried bamalo fish when crumbled over Indian cuisine? Bombay duck. Bombay duck refers to the bamalo, a species of lizard fish found in the Indo-Pacific. It is commonly dried and cured, then fried or roasted, and is a popular culinary ingredient, particularly in certain Indian cuisines like those of Maharashtra and Bengal. Which title was held by Queen Victoria father? Duke of Kent. Queen Victoria father was Prince Edward, Duke of Kent and Strathern, the fourth son of King George III. Despite dying when Victoria was an infant, his lineage was crucial as he was the father of the future monarch, who later became one of Britain's longest reigning sovereigns. Which German word means lowbrow, cheesy, mass-produced art in poor taste? Kitsch. Kitsch is a German term that describes art or objects considered to be in poor taste due to their sentimentality, melodrama, or superficial gaudiness. It often refers to mass-produced items designed to appeal to popular, unrefined tastes rather than aesthetic merit. Which French phrase translates as blow of mercy? Coup de grâce. Coup de grâce is a French expression meaning blow of mercy or death blow. It refers to a final decisive action or event that brings about the end of something, or a finishing stroke given to a suffering person or animal to end their pain. Which dynastic honor group is restricted to 24 members at any given time? Order of Merit. The Order of Merit is a prestigious honor bestowed by the British sovereign for outstanding service in the armed forces, science, art, literature, or for the promotion of culture. Its membership is strictly limited to 24 living individuals from the Commonwealth realms, plus honorary members. Under which Prime Minister were life peerages instituted? Harold Macmillan. Life peerages were instituted in the United Kingdom under Prime Minister Harold Macmillan through the Life Peerages Act 1958. This reform allowed individuals to be appointed to the House of Lords for life, without their peerage being hereditary, thereby modernizing the upper chamber and enabling a broader range of expertise. Which is the highest order of chivalry in England? Order of the Garter. The Most Noble Order of the Garter is the highest order of chivalry in the United Kingdom, founded by King Edward III in 1348. Dedicated to St. George, England's patron saint, it is composed of the Sovereign, the Prince of Wales, and no more than 24 knights or ladies' companion, making it an exclusive and ancient honor. Which element with atomic number 19 was originally called Kalium? Potassium. Potassium is an alkali metal with atomic number 19 and is represented by the symbol K, derived from its Neo-Latin name, Kalium. This name originates from the Arabic word, alkalia, referring to plant ash, from which potassium compounds were first isolated. It is a vital electrolyte for human health and plays crucial roles in various biological and industrial processes. Who wrote the play Equus? Peter Shaffer. Equus is a renowned 1973 play by the British playwright Peter Shaffer. It delves into complex themes of religion, psychology, and the conflict between societal norms and individual passion, earning critical acclaim and becoming a significant work in modern theatre. Which is the most northerly of the Met Office shipping forecast areas? Southeast Iceland. The Met Office shipping forecast provides vital meteorological information for various sea areas around the British Isles and parts of the North Atlantic. Southeast Iceland marks the northernmost boundary of these designated forecasting areas, crucial for maritime navigation and safety in that region. Isohells are lines on a map linking places of equal what? Sunshine. Isohells are specific isolines found on maps that connect geographical points experiencing an equal duration of sunshine over a defined period, typically a month or a year. These lines are crucial in climatology for mapping solar radiation patterns and analyzing regional variations in insolation and climate. Which Irish province includes the counties of Cork, Kerry, and Limerick? Munster. Munster is one of the 4 traditional provinces of Ireland, situated in the country's southwest. It encompasses 6 counties, Clare, Cork, Kerry, Limerick, Tipperary, and Waterford, and is celebrated for its rich historical heritage, distinctive cultural traditions, and picturesque landscapes. What is the administrative headquarters of the Welsh region of Ceredigion? Aberystwyth. Aberystwyth serves as the primary administrative and commercial hub for Ceredigion, a unitary authority and historic county located in West Wales. The town is also home to Aberystwyth University, making it a prominent educational and cultural centre in the region. Which body of water separates mainland Scotland and the Orkneys? Pentland Firth. The Pentland Firth is a strait that separates the Orkney Islands from the Caithness region on the Scottish mainland. It is known for its exceptionally strong tidal currents and serves as a significant navigational channel between the Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea. Who authored The Leatherstocking Tales? James Fenimore Cooper. James Fenimore Cooper was a prominent American writer of the early 19th century, renowned for his historical romances of frontier and Native American life. The Leatherstocking Tales is a pentalogy of novels, including the famous The Last of the Mohicans, featuring the iconic frontiersman Natty Bumppo. Which institution was abolished as useless and dangerous in 1649? The House of Lords. The House of Lords, the upper house of the Parliament of England, was abolished by the Rump Parliament in 1649 following the execution of King Charles I during the English Civil War. It was seen as a relic of the monarchy and incompatible with the newly declared Commonwealth, but was later restored in 1660. Which educational movement was initiated by Robert Rikers in 1780? The Sunday School Movement. Robert Rikers, a British philanthropist and newspaper editor, founded the Sunday School movement in Gloucester, England, in 1780. These schools provided basic education, including literacy and religious instruction, to working-class children who were otherwise engaged in labor throughout the week. In Greek mythology, who was awarded the golden apple in the Judgment of Paris? Aphrodite. The Judgment of Paris is a pivotal event in Greek mythology, where the Trojan prince Paris was asked to determine which of three goddesses, Hera, Athena, or Aphrodite, was the most beautiful. Aphrodite ultimately won after promising Paris the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen, a promise that directly led to the Trojan War. Which major bridge is traversed by the A15 road? The Humber Bridge. The Humber Bridge is a significant long-span suspension bridge in England, connecting East Yorkshire and North Lincolnshire across the Humber estuary. Opened in 1981, it was the longest single-span suspension bridge in the world for 16 years and remains a vital part of the UK's infrastructure, carrying the A15 road. Which widely recognized festival evolved from the ancient pagan festival of Samhain? Halloween. Samhain was an ancient Celtic festival marking the end of summer, the harvest, and the transition into the darker half of the year, believed to be a time when the veil between worlds thinned. Over centuries, its traditions merged with Christian observances, particularly All Saints' Day, evolving into the modern celebration of Halloween. Which special day is traditionally observed on the fourth Sunday in Lent? Mothering Sunday, Mother's Day. Mothering Sunday is a Christian holiday celebrated in the United Kingdom and some other parts of Europe on the fourth Sunday of Lent. Historically, it was a day for people to return to their mother church for a special service. Over time, it broadened to also become a day to honor mothers and family. Which fruit is traditionally consumed by Muslims to break the fast of Ramadan? Dates. Dates are a traditional food for breaking the fast of Ramadan, iftar, due to their nutritional value, quick energy boost, and the fact that Prophet Muhammad is believed to have broken his fast with them. This practice is rooted in Islamic tradition and Sunnah. What type of headwear is known as a toque? Hat. A toque is a brimless hat, often close-fitting and worn by chefs, or a soft, often knitted, cap typically worn in winter. The term originates from Arabic and has been adopted into various languages, referring to different styles of headwear over time. What does the colloquial term, soup and fish, refer to? Men's evening dress. Soup and fish is a colloquial British term for men's formal evening wear, specifically white tie and tails. The phrase is believed to have originated from the traditional menu served at formal dinners, where soup and fish courses were often served before the main entree, implying a full formal meal. Which anti-Catholic insurgencies occurred in London in 1780? The Gordon Riots. The Gordon Riots were a series of violent anti-Catholic protests that erupted in London in 1780, led by Lord George Gordon. These riots were fueled by public opposition to the Papists Act of 1778, which reduced discrimination against Roman Catholics, and resulted in widespread destruction and loss of life before being suppressed by the military. What significant events occurred at the Nore and Spithead in 1797? Naval mutinies. In 1797, major naval mutinies took place at Spithead and the Nore in England, involving thousands of sailors of the Royal Navy. These mutinies, driven by grievances over poor pay, harsh conditions, and brutal discipline, severely threatened Britain's naval power during the Napoleonic Wars before being resolved through a mix of concessions and repression. Which economic law states that bad money drives out good? Gresham's law. Gresham's law is an economic principle asserting that if two forms of commodity money are in circulation, the one perceived as more valuable or good will be hoarded, while the bad or debased money will be used for transactions. This often occurs when a legal tender law forces acceptance of both at the same nominal value, despite differences in intrinsic value. On which river is Melbourne, Australia situated? Yarra River. Melbourne, the capital of Victoria, Australia, is situated on the Yarra River. The river played a crucial role in the city's early development and continues to be a central feature of its urban landscape. On which river is Adelaide, Australia situated? River Torrens. Adelaide, the capital of South Australia, is located on the River Torrens. This river is an important natural feature running through the city, providing a green corridor and playing a role in urban planning and recreation. Which common bird is also known as the dunnock? Hedge sparrow. The dunnock, often known as the hedge sparrow, is a small passerine bird common across Europe and Asia. Despite its common name, it is not closely related to true sparrows but belongs to the family Prunellidae. What is the capital of the Dominican Republic? Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo is the capital and largest city of the Dominican Republic, located on the Caribbean Sea. It is the oldest continuously inhabited European established settlement in the Americas, founded by Bartholomew Columbus in 1496. What is the primary activity of viticulturists? Growing grapes. Viticulture is the science and practice of cultivating grapes, specifically for wine production. It involves the study of grape wine life cycles, vineyard management, and harvest techniques, making it a crucial aspect of the agricultural and beverage industries. Who authored the notable poem penned in the latter half of the 19th century, particularly One Morning, a significant national figure? Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman, 1819 to 1892, was a pivotal American poet, essayist, and journalist, widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in American poetry. He is celebrated for his iconic collection, Leaves of Grass, and pioneering the use of free verse. Following whose death did Walt Whitman compose the poignant elegy, O Captain, My Captain? Abraham Lincoln. O Captain, My Captain, is a famous elegy by Walt Whitman, written in 1865 to commemorate the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln. The poem uses the metaphor of a ship and its captain to express the nation's profound grief and loss after the Civil War. How many letters are contained in the full chemical name represented by the acronym TUNT? 15. TUNT stands for trinitrotoluene, an aromatic organic compound with the chemical formula C6-hydrogen nitrite CH3. It is a well-known chemical explosive, widely used in military, industrial, and demolition applications due to its stability and power. What is the surname of Jacques-Alexandre César, after whom a scientific law is named? Charles. Charles's law, also known as the law of volumes, describes how gases tend to expand when heated. Formulated by Jacques-Alexandre César Charles, it states that for a fixed mass of gas at constant pressure, the volume is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. This fundamental gas law is crucial in thermodynamics and chemistry. Who wrote the 1996 novel, The Beach? Alex Garland. The Beach is a 1996 novel by British author Alex Garland, known for its themes of utopianism, disillusionment, and the pursuit of unspoiled paradise. The book gained significant popularity and was later adapted into a 2000 film starring Leonardo DiCaprio, further cementing its cultural impact. Where is an image of the 24-spoked wheel called the Ashoka Chakra most often seen? Center of the Indian flag. The Ashoka Chakra, a 24-spoked wheel, symbolizes the Dharma Chakra, wheel of law, and is prominently featured in the center of the national flag of India. It represents movement and progress, replacing the spinning wheel, charkha, of Mahatma Gandhi's early flags. It is also found on the Sarnath lion capital of Ashoka, which is the national emblem of India. What is the cube root of 1/8? Half. The cube root of a number, x, is a number, y, such that y*y*y equals x. For 1/8, its cube root is 1/2, because 1/2 equals 1/8. Who wrote the 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? L. Frank Baum. L. Frank Baum's classic 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, is a foundational work in American children's literature. It introduced iconic characters like Dorothy, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Woodman, becoming a global cultural phenomenon. What was David Cameron's parliamentary constituency in Oxfordshire? Witney. Witney was the parliamentary constituency represented by David Cameron in the House of Commons from 2001 to 2016. He served as the Member of Parliament for Witney throughout his tenure as leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. What is the singular form of the word graffiti? Graffito. The word graffiti is derived from the Italian graffiato, meaning scratched. While graffiti is commonly used as a plural noun, referring to multiple markings, its singular form, denoting a single mark or drawing, is graffito. In the Bible, at whose feast did the ghostly writing on the wall appear? King Belshazzar's. The biblical story of the writing on the wall appears in the book of Daniel. During a feast held by King Belshazzar of Babylon, a mysterious hand appeared and wrote on the wall, foretelling the imminent fall of his kingdom. This event is the origin of the idiom, the writing on the wall, signifying an ominous warning. What do the letters C, B, represent in the context of the constituent atoms in a diamond? Covalent bonds, bonding. A diamond is an allotrope of carbon characterized by a crystal structure where each carbon atom is covalently bonded to 4 other carbon atoms. These strong covalent bonds are responsible for diamond's extreme hardness, high melting point, and electrical insulating properties. When did the R-101 airship crash in France, resulting in the loss of 48 lives, to within a year either way? 1930. The R-101 was a British rigid airship that tragically crashed in France on October 5, 1930, claiming 48 lives. This disaster, along with the Hindenburg catastrophe, significantly impacted public confidence in airship travel and led to the cessation of Britain's airship program. According to many sources, what fell from the sky and landed on Aeschylus's head, killing him? Tortoise. Aeschylus, one of the 3 great ancient Greek tragedians, is famously said to have died from a tortoise dropped by an eagle. The eagle reportedly mistook his bald head for a rock, intending to break the tortoise's shell. In which half of which century did the 30 Years' War take place? First half of the 17th century. The 30 Years' War was a brutal European conflict fought primarily in Central Europe between 1618 and 1648, thus spanning the first half of the 17th century. It reshaped the religious and political map of Europe, leading to the Peace of Westphalia. Where in the human body would you find the mitral valve? Heart. The mitral valve, also known as the bicuspid valve, is a crucial component of the human heart. It is located between the left atrium and the left ventricle, regulating blood flow and preventing backflow into the atrium during ventricular contraction. What plain, woven cloth gets its name from a port in northeast India? Calico. Calico is a plain woven textile made from unbleached cotton. Its name is derived from Calicut, present-day Kozhikode, in Kerala, a historic port city on the Malabar coast of India, which was renowned for its trade in cotton fabric since the 11th century. Which saint is frequently depicted as being killed by arrows? Sebastian. Saint Sebastian is a Christian saint and martyr, often portrayed in art tied to a post or tree and pierced with arrows. He is venerated in the Catholic and Orthodox churches and is known as a patron saint against plagues. Scurvy is caused by a deficiency of which vitamin? C. Scurvy is a disease resulting from a severe lack of vitamin C, ascorbic acid. It is characterized by symptoms such as weakness, anemia, gum disease, and skin hemorrhages, and was historically common among sailors on long voyages. Which Benjamin Britten opera is set in a fictional fishing village? Peter Grimes. Peter Grimes is a seminal opera by Benjamin Britten, first performed in 1945. It is set in the fictional Suffolk fishing village of Aldborough and explores themes of social alienation and persecution through its complex protagonist. Two of the four human blood groups are A and B. What are the other two? A, B and O. The ABO blood group system classifies human blood based on the presence or absence of specific antigens on the surface of red blood cells. The four main types are A, B, AB, and O, which are critical for safe blood transfusions and organ transplantation. To the nearest whole liter, how much blood does an average adult male have? 5 liters. An average adult male typically has around 5 to 6 liters of blood, which constitutes about 7% of their body weight. Blood is vital for transporting oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and waste products, while also regulating body temperature and pH. What is the capital of Paraguay? Asunción. Asunción is the capital and largest city of Paraguay, located on the left bank of the Paraguay River. It is one of the oldest cities in South America and an important cultural and economic center in the region. Which drug derives its name from the Greek god of dreams? Morphine. Morphine is a potent opioid pain medication that acts directly on the central nervous system. Its name is derived from Morpheus, the Greek god of dreams, reflecting the drug's potent sedative and hypnotic effects, which can induce a dream-like state. Who preceded General Cornwallis as Governor General of India? Warren Hastings. Warren Hastings served as the first Governor General of Bengal from 1772 to 1785, preceding Lord Cornwallis. His tenure was marked by significant administrative reforms, expansion of British influence, and faced the notable impeachment trial in Britain. Who was the ecclesiastical figure who founded Winchester College in 1382? William of Wykeham. William of Wykeham, Bishop of Winchester and Chancellor of England, founded Winchester College in 1382. It is one of the oldest and most prestigious independent boarding schools in the United Kingdom, established to educate scholars for his new college, Oxford. For religious individuals, the shamrock is traditionally considered a metaphor for what concept? The Holy Trinity. The shamrock, a young sprig of clover, is a well-known symbol of Ireland. Saint Patrick is said to have used its 3 leaves to explain the Christian doctrine of the Holy Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, to the pagan Irish. Born in 1882, which prominent Irish statesman departed from Sinn Féin in 1926 and subsequently founded the Fianna Fáil political party? Eamon de Valera. Eamon de Valera was a dominant figure in Irish politics throughout much of the 20th century, serving multiple terms as Taoiseach, Prime Minister, and President. His founding of Fianna Fáil in 1926 marked a major split in Irish republicanism and established one of Ireland's two dominant political parties. The communities of Peel, Port St. Mary, Castletown, and Ballabeg are situated on which island? Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is a self-governing British Crown dependency located in the Irish Sea between Great Britain and Ireland. It is known for its unique culture, history, and distinct legislative system, including its ancient parliament, the Tynwald. Florence, Pegasus, Symphony, and Alice are all known varieties of which popular fruit? Strawberry. Strawberries are widely cultivated hybrid fruits appreciated for their sweet taste and distinct aroma. Breeders develop specific varieties like Florence, Pegasus, Symphony, and Alice to enhance characteristics such as disease resistance, yield, and flavor profile, suiting different growing conditions and markets. Bouvet Island, an uninhabited subantarctic island in the South Atlantic Ocean, is a dependency of which country? Norway. Bouvet Island is a remote, uninhabited volcanic island in the South Atlantic Ocean, claimed by Norway since 1928. It is designated as a nature reserve and is significant for its status as one of the most isolated landmasses on Earth. Liberty Island, located in New York Harbor and home to the Statue of Liberty, was previously known by what name? Bedloes Island. Before its renaming in 1956, Liberty Island was known as Bedloes Island. The island gained international recognition as the site chosen for the Statue of Liberty, which was dedicated in 1886 and became a global symbol of freedom and democracy. What method of demise is known medically as exsanguination? Bleeding to death. Exsanguination is the medical term for severe blood loss, typically to a degree sufficient to cause death. It is a critical concept in forensic pathology and emergency medicine, highlighting the physiological impact of significant hemorrhage. Stranger's Gate is an entrance to which world-famous park? Central Park, New York. Stranger's Gate is one of the many iconic entrances to Central Park in New York City, a world-renowned urban park designed by Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux. The park is a significant example of landscape architecture and an important cultural and recreational hub. What does the Latin phrase, lapsus linguae, mean in English? Slip of the tongue. Lapsus linguae is a Latin phrase that directly translates to slip of the tongue. It refers to an unintentional error in speech, where a speaker uses one word or phrase instead of another, often revealing subconscious thoughts or an underlying psychological process. What is the name of the long loose cloak worn by Arab men? Burnous. A burnous is a long, loose cloak of coarse wool with a hood, traditionally worn by Arab men, especially in North Africa. It is a distinctive item of traditional clothing that serves both practical purposes against desert elements and cultural significance. Which forest features in Shakespeare's As You Like It? Forest of Arden. The Forest of Arden is a pivotal setting in William Shakespeare's pastoral comedy, As You Like It. It serves as a refuge for characters fleeing persecution, a place of freedom, transformation, and self-discovery, embodying the idealized rural life contrasted with the corrupt court. A babirusa is a wild variety of which creature? Pig. The babirusa is a unique genus of wild pigs native to the Indonesian islands of Sulawesi, Togian, Sula, and Buru. Characterized by the prominent, upward curving tusks of the male, these animals are known for their distinct appearance and are considered vulnerable due to habitat loss. Which form of Buddhism is prevalent in Japan? Zen. Zen Buddhism is a significant school of Mahayana Buddhism that originated in China as Chan Buddhism and later spread to Japan, where it became widely influential. Zen emphasizes meditation, zazen, direct experience, and the attainment of enlightenment through sudden insight. What word is used by Christians for the suffering and death of Jesus? Passion. In Christianity, the Passion refers specifically to the suffering, crucifixion, and death of Jesus Christ. This period, culminating on Good Friday, is central to Christian theology and is commemorated annually through various religious observances and artistic representations. To where was Archbishop Macarius exiled by the British in the mid-50s? The Seychelles. Archbishop Macarius III, the first president of Cyprus, was exiled by the British to the Seychelles in 1956 due to his involvement in the Cypriot independence movement, EOKA. This event was a critical moment in Cyprus's struggle for self-determination from British colonial rule. Who did Jacques Santer replace as president of the European Commission in 1995? Jacques Delors. Jacques Santer served as president of the European Commission from 1995 to 1999. He succeeded Jacques Delors, who held the position for 3 terms, 1985 to 1995, overseeing significant European integration milestones such as the Single Market and the Maastricht Treaty. What unofficial title was given to George Hudson MP in 1844? The Railway King. George Hudson was an English railway financier and politician in the 19th century, popularly known as the Railway King. He played a pivotal role in the rapid expansion of the railway network in Britain during the 1840s, consolidating many smaller companies into larger concerns. Which kings have the motto, "One never knows"? Pearly Kings. The Pearly Kings and Queens are an organized charitable tradition of working-class Londoners, known for their distinctive clothing adorned with pearl buttons. This tradition, originating in the 19th century, embodies a community spirit and a philosophy of resilience and adaptability. Which ancient storyteller was sentenced to death and thrown off a cliff? Aesop. Aesop was an ancient Greek fabulist or storyteller credited with a collection of fables known as Aesop's Fables. While his historical existence is debated, traditional accounts suggest he was a slave who gained freedom, eventually meeting a tragic end by being thrown from a cliff. Who did Lloyd George describe as brilliant to the top of his army boots? General Haig. David Lloyd George, the British Prime Minister during much of World War I, used this description for Field Marshal Douglas Haig. Haig commanded the British Expeditionary Force on the Western Front from 1915, and his leadership remains a subject of considerable historical debate. Which adventurer's wife reportedly kept his head in a velvet bag until her death? Walter Raleigh. Walter Raleigh was an English explorer, soldier, and writer, prominent during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I following his execution in 1618. His wife, Elizabeth Throckmorton, is famously said to have kept his embalmed head as a memento until her own demise. Tor Pendente is the local name for which world-famous visitor attraction? Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Tor Pendente, or Leaning Tower of Pisa, is the campanile, or freestanding bell tower, of the Cathedral of Pisa, Italy. It is renowned for its unintended tilt, which began during its construction in the 12th century due to soft ground. In the human body, what is the common name for the third molar teeth? Wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth are the third and final set of molars that most people get in their late teens or early 20s. They are vestigial organs, often requiring extraction due to impaction or insufficient space in the jaw. Who is the French national personification, analogous to Britannia? Marianne. Marianne is the national personification of the French Republic, symbolizing liberty and reason, and is displayed in many places in France. She is a prominent symbol of France, embodying the values of the French Revolution: liberty, equality, fraternity. What is the correct scientific name for an ant's nest? Formicary. A formicary is the scientific term for an ant's nest, derived from the Latin word formica, meaning ant. These complex structures can range from simple burrows in the soil to elaborate subterranean networks or arboreal nests housing ant colonies. The word tintinnabula relates to the sound of what? Bells. The adjective tintinnabula describes something relating to or suggestive of the ringing of bells. Its etymology traces back to the Latin word tintinnabulum, which means a small bell. Mass multiplied by velocity yields what physical quantity? Momentum. In physics, momentum is a measure of the mass in motion, defined as the product of an object's mass and its velocity. It is a vector quantity, meaning it has both magnitude and direction, and is conserved in a closed system. What is the more common name for methanoic acid? Formic acid. Methanoic acid is more commonly known as formic acid, which is the simplest carboxylic acid. It is naturally present in the venom of ant stings and bee stings, and also contributes to the irritant properties of stinging nettles. Which principle of physics is utilized in police speed traps? Doppler effect. The Doppler effect is a fundamental principle of physics that describes the change in frequency or wavelength of a wave in relation to an observer moving relative to the wave source. Police speed traps employ radar or lidar technology based on this effect to accurately measure vehicle speeds. Cape St. Vincent is the most southwestern point of which country? Portugal. Cape St. Vincent is the most southwestern point of continental Europe, located in Portugal. It holds significant historical importance, particularly during the Age of Discovery, as a landmark for navigators. Which mountain range stretches from the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea? Caucasus. The Caucasus Mountains are a major mountain range at the intersection of Europe and Asia, stretching approximately 1,200 kilometers from the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea. They form a natural barrier and are renowned for their diverse ecosystems and cultural heritage. Which is the main island of the Greek group the Dodecanese? Rhodes. Rhodes is the largest island of the Dodecanese island group in Greece, located in the southeastern Aegean Sea. Historically, it was home to the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and played a crucial role in maritime trade. In which city were all but 6 French kings crowned? Reims. Reims, or Reims, is a city in northeastern France renowned for its majestic Cathedral of Notre Dame. Historically, this cathedral served as the traditional site for the coronation of French monarchs, symbolizing the legitimacy and divine right of the kings. Chaim Weizmann was the first president of which country? Israel. Chaim Weizmann was a prominent Zionist leader, chemist, and statesman who played a pivotal role in the establishment of the State of Israel. He served as the first president of Israel from 1949 until his death in 1952. What word is used for the divination of dreams? Aneromancy. Aneromancy is the practice of divining the future through the interpretation of dreams. This ancient practice has been documented across various cultures and civilizations, reflecting humanity's long-standing interest in the symbolic meanings of dreams. Who wrote The Interpretation of Dreams in 1899? Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud, an Austrian neurologist, is widely recognized as the founder of psychoanalysis. His seminal work, The Interpretation of Dreams, published in 1899, introduced groundbreaking theories on the unconscious mind, dream symbolism, and their psychological significance. What was Giacomo Casanova's occupation at the time of his death? Librarian. Giacomo Casanova, the renowned Venetian adventurer and author, served as a librarian for Count Joseph Karl von Waldstein at Dux Castle, now Dichkov, Czech Republic, during the last 13 years of his life. It was during this period that he wrote his extensive autobiography, Histoire de ma vie. Which fabric derives its name from a Syrian city? Damask. Damask is a patterned fabric, often woven with intricate designs, known for its reversible patterns. The name, Damask, originates from Damascus, Syria, a city historically renowned for its production and trade of this distinctive textile. Which Norse god rode an eight-legged horse named Sleipnir? Odin. In Norse mythology, Odin, the All-Father and chief of the Aesir gods, rides the magnificent eight-legged horse Sleipnir. Sleipnir, born to Loki, is described as the best of all horses, capable of traversing land, air, and sea, and even journeying to the underworld. What is the ancient Hebrew ceremonial wind instrument made from a ram's horn? Shofar. The shofar is an ancient musical horn, traditionally made from a ram's horn, used for religious purposes in Jewish culture. It is prominently sounded during Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and Yom Kippur, symbolizing a call to repentance and spiritual awakening. Which percussion instrument consists of a series of tuned metal bars struck by mallets? Glockenspiel. A glockenspiel is a percussion instrument featuring a range of tuned metal bars, typically arranged chromatically. It produces bright, bell-like tones when struck with mallets, and is commonly used in orchestras, marching bands, and various musical compositions. According to biblical accounts, which musical instrument did King David play? Harp. In the Bible, King David, the second king of Israel, is famously depicted as a skilled musician and psalmist who played the harp, often referred to as a lyre. He used his music to soothe King Saul and express devotion to God, composing many of the psalms. Paul Cézanne, Paul Gauguin, and Vincent van Gogh belonged to which school of painting? Post-Impressionists. Paul Cézanne, Paul Gauguin, and Vincent van Gogh were prominent figures of Post-Impressionism, an art movement that emerged in the late 19th century. This movement extended Impressionism's use of vibrant colors and real-life subject matter but focused more on symbolic content, structural clarity, and expressive brushwork. Which family was portrayed as the Magi in Botticelli's Adoration of the Magi? Medici. Sandro Botticelli's Adoration of the Magi prominently features members of the powerful Medici family, patrons of the arts and de facto rulers of Florence during the Renaissance. This inclusion served as both a tribute to their influence and a subtle political statement, aligning them with revered biblical figures. Who painted the Rokeby Venus? Diego Velázquez. The Rokeby Venus, also known as Venus at her Mirror, is the only surviving nude by the Spanish painter Diego Velázquez. Painted between 1647 and 1651, it is a masterwork of the Baroque period, renowned for its innovative composition and sensual depiction. Which global company owes its origin to an invention by Dr. John S. Pemberton? The Coca-Cola Company. Dr. John S. Pemberton, an American pharmacist, created the original formula for Coca-Cola in 1886 in Atlanta, Georgia. Initially marketed as a patent medicine, this carbonated beverage rapidly grew in popularity, forming the foundation of one of the world's most recognizable brands. What was the first commercially available household detergent? Persil. Persil was introduced in 1907 by the German company Henkel and was one of the first commercially produced laundry detergents that combined bleach with a soap-like substance. Its innovation marked a significant step in modern household cleaning, providing a more effective alternative to traditional soap. Clints and grikes are features found in formations of which rock? Limestone. Clints and grikes are characteristic features of limestone pavements, which are formed by the dissolution of limestone bedrock by acidic rainwater. Clints are the flat, rectangular blocks of limestone, while grikes are the deep, narrow fissures separating them, often supporting unique plant life. What color is the mineral malachite? Green. Malachite is a vibrant green copper carbonate mineral, known for its distinctive bands and swirls. It has been used as an ornamental stone and pigment for thousands of years, admired for its rich color and unique patterns. What is the name of the layer of the Earth located between its crust and its core? Mantle. The mantle is the largest layer of the Earth, extending from the base of the crust to the outer core, approximately 2,900 kilometers thick. Composed primarily of silicate rocks rich in iron and magnesium, it is responsible for driving plate tectonics through convection currents. Shelley's Adonais is an elegy on the death of which poet? Keats. Shelley's Adonais is a pastoral elegy written in 1821 to mourn the death of his fellow Romantic poet, John Keats. It is considered one of the greatest elegies in English literature, reflecting on Keats's life, premature death, and poetic legacy. Wordsworth, Coleridge. Who was the third of the Lake Poets? Southey. The Lake Poets were a group of English Romantic poets who lived in the Lake District of England in the early 19th century. The prominent figures of this informal school were William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and Robert Southey, known for their focus on nature and emotional expression. With which profession does one associate the Stanislavski method? Acting. The Stanislavski method, developed by Russian theater practitioner Konstantin Stanislavski, is a systematic approach to actor training. It emphasizes psychological realism, encouraging actors to deeply understand and embody their characters' motivations and emotions. What is the family name of the ruling dynasty of Monaco? Grimaldi. The House of Grimaldi is the ruling princely family of the Principality of Monaco. This ancient Genoese family has governed Monaco, with brief interruptions, since 1297, making it one of the oldest ruling dynasties in Europe. Which capital city was burned by the British in 1814? Washington. The burning of Washington occurred in August 1814 during the War of 1812, when British forces under Major General Robert Ross set fire to public buildings in Washington, D.C., including the White House and the Capitol. This event was a significant act of retaliation for American actions in Canada. Which British commander was killed at Corunna in 1808? Sir John Moore. Sir John Moore was a distinguished British general who commanded the British forces during the Corunna campaign in 1808 to 1809 as part of the Peninsular War. He was fatally wounded during the Battle of Corunna, which was fought to cover the evacuation of British troops from Spain. Australia has two indigenous flightless birds, the emu and which other? Cassowary. Australia is home to several unique species, including the emu and the cassowary, both large flightless birds. The emu is Australia's largest native bird and the second largest living bird by height, while the cassowary is found in the tropical rainforests of northeastern Australia and New Guinea. Which is the only European country where porcupines live in the wild? Italy. While various porcupine species are found globally, the crested porcupine, Hystrix cristata, is the only species native to Europe, primarily found in Italy and Sicily. This large rodent is covered in sharp quills and typically inhabits forests, grasslands, and rocky areas. A shubhankan is a variety of what kind of fish? Goldfish. The shubhankan is a highly popular and colorful variety of goldfish, originating from Japan. It is characterized by its single tail and nacreous scales, which give it a mosaic-like appearance with patches of red, black, orange, and blue. Which of the Greek islands is closest to the Albanian coast? Corfu. Corfu, Kerkra, is a prominent Greek island located in the Ionian Sea, known for its lush green landscapes and Venetian architecture. Geographically, it is positioned off the northwest coast of Greece and is notably close to the coast of Albania, separated by a narrow strait. What do the Germans call the Donau River? The River Danube. The Danube River, Europe's second longest river, flows through 10 countries from its source in Germany's Black Forest to the Black Sea. In German, the river is known as Donau, reflecting its significant role in Central and Eastern European geography and culture. Who composed the symphonic poem Scheherazade? Rimsky-Korsakov. Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov, a prominent Russian composer, completed Scheherazade in 1888. This orchestral suite is based on 1001 Nights, also known as the Arabian Nights, depicting various tales through its vibrant melodies and rich orchestration, making it a staple of the Romantic era's program music. Who is the patron saint of Spain? Saint James. Saint James the Greater is revered as the patron saint of Spain. According to tradition, his relics are held at the Santiago de Compostela Cathedral in Galicia, which has been a major pilgrimage site, the Way of Saint James, for centuries, profoundly influencing Spanish culture and history. Who composed the work Tales from the Vienna Woods? Johann Strauss. Johann Strauss II, often referred to as the Waltz King, composed Tales from the Vienna Woods, Geschichten aus dem Wienerwald, in 1868. This famous waltz incorporates zither solos and folk melodies, beautifully capturing the spirit and scenic beauty of the Viennese forests, becoming one of his most beloved works. What substance found in the body is known as cerumen? Earwax. Cerumen, commonly known as earwax, is a naturally occurring yellowish, waxy substance secreted in the ear canal. It plays a vital role in cleaning, lubricating, and protecting the ear canal from bacteria, fungi, and water. What does the prefix cryo signify in words such as cryogenics? Cold. The prefix cryo originates from the Greek word kryos, meaning icy cold or frost. It is commonly used in scientific and medical terminology, as seen in cryogenics, the study of producing very low temperatures, and cryotherapy, treatment using cold. Which Russian word translates to largest or most grand? Bolshoi. The Russian word bolshoi directly translates to big or grand. It is famously associated with the Bolshoi Theatre in Moscow, renowned globally for its ballet and opera performances. The name reflects the theatre's scale and grandeur, making it a prominent cultural landmark. What is London's largest theatre? Colosseum. The London Colosseum, located in St. Martin's Lane, is the largest theatre in London, boasting a seating capacity of 2,359. It serves as the home of the English National Opera and is recognized for its grand Edwardian Baroque architecture and historical significance in British performing arts. Which gas is typically found in a green fire extinguisher? Halon. Halon fire extinguishers, often identifiable by their green color coding, contain halon gases. These gases are effective in extinguishing fires by chemically disrupting the combustion process. However, due to their significant ozone-depleting potential, the production and use of halons have been largely phased out under international environmental protocols. Which schoolmaster from Lichfield mentored the renowned actor David Garrick? Samuel Johnson. David Garrick, a highly influential 18th-century actor and theatre manager, received early mentorship from Samuel Johnson. Johnson, a prominent English writer, lexicographer, and literary critic, profoundly influenced Garrick's intellectual development during their time in Lichfield before their move to London. Which librettist, known for writing the lyrics to West Side Story, was mentored by Oscar Hammerstein? Stephen Sondheim. Stephen Sondheim, a legendary American composer and lyricist, received crucial early mentorship from Oscar Hammerstein too, a dominant figure in American musical theater. Hammerstein's guidance significantly shaped Sondheim's approach to songwriting and dramatic structure, paving the way for his groundbreaking work in musicals like West Side Story and Sweeney Todd. Residents of which English city are known as Wolverinians? Wolverhampton. The term, Wolverinians, is the demonym used to refer to the residents of Wolverhampton, a city in the West Midlands, England. This distinctive name is derived from Wulfrun, the Mercian noblewoman who founded the settlement in 985 AD, reflecting the city's rich historical origins. To the north of which Scottish city do the Campsie Fells lie? Glasgow. The Campsie Fells are a range of hills situated in central Scotland, located directly to the north of the city of Glasgow. These volcanic hills form a prominent natural landmark, offering scenic landscapes and popular recreational opportunities for residents and visitors. Which city was planned to be renamed Germania by the Nazis if they had won World War II? Berlin. Adolf Hitler, in conjunction with his chief architect Albert Speer, harbored ambitious plans to transform Berlin into a monumental new capital city called Germania. This project, known as Welthauptstadt Germania, World Capital Germania, aimed to symbolize the Third Reich's ultimate triumph and future dominance if they had achieved victory in World War II. Which European capital lies on the River Seine? Brussels. Brussels, the capital of Belgium, is situated on the River Seine. While much of the river's course through the city has been vaulted over and covered, it remains a defining geographical feature of the region. Which Royal Naval vessel was the subject of the Yangtze incident in 1949? HMS Amethyst. The Yangtze incident of 1949 involved the British warship HMS Amethyst, which was caught in the crossfire during the Chinese Civil War. The vessel was shelled by the People's Liberation Army, leading to a diplomatic crisis and a dramatic escape down the Yangtze River. In 1960, the first laser used which crystal as its lens? Ruby. The first operational laser was demonstrated in 1960 by Theodore Maiman at Hughes Research Laboratories. This groundbreaking device utilized a synthetic ruby crystal as its gain medium to produce a coherent beam of light, marking a pivotal moment in the development of photonics. Which Victorian Field Marshal's name has become a byword for efficiency? Sir Garnet Wolseley. Field Marshal Sir Garnet Wolseley was a prominent British Army officer who served during the Victorian era. His reputation for meticulous planning and effective execution of military campaigns led to the phrase, "All Sir Garnet," signifying everything being in perfect order and efficient. What type of clamp would an engineer use to hold an object with radial symmetry? Chuck. In engineering and manufacturing, a chuck is a specialized type of clamp used to hold a workpiece or tool with radial symmetry, such as a drill bit or a cylindrical component. It typically consists of jaws that can be tightened simultaneously to secure the object centrally, ensuring precision during operations like drilling, turning, or milling. The Professor was a novel by which of the Bronte sisters? Charlotte Bronte. The Professor is the first novel written by Charlotte Bronte, though it was posthumously published in 1857. It draws on her experiences as a teacher in Brussels and explores themes of love, social class, and gender roles. What is the sum of the regnal numbers of the last 3 kings of the United Kingdom? 19. The last 3 kings of the United Kingdom were George V, 5, Edward VIII, 8, and George VI, 6. The sum of their regnal numbers is 5 plus 8 plus 6, which equals 19. What is the official address of the White House in Washington, D.C.? 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, NW. The White House, the official residence and principal workplace of the President of the United States, is located at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, NW in Washington, D.C. This iconic address is a well-known symbol of American government and democracy. Which part of its constitution did the Labour Party abandon in 1995? Clause IV. In 1995, under Tony Blair's leadership, the British Labour Party controversially revised Clause IV of its constitution. This move signified a shift away from its traditional commitment to common ownership of the means of production, marking a key moment in the party's new Labour modernization. Which amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects against self-incrimination? 5th. The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution is a crucial part of the Bill of Rights, safeguarding individuals from being compelled to testify against themselves. This protection, often referred to as the right to remain silent, is fundamental to due process and prevents forced confessions. A statue of which nurse stands on the northeast corner of Trafalgar Square? Edith Cavell. Edith Cavell was a British nurse executed by the Germans during World War I for helping Allied soldiers escape from German-occupied Belgium. Her sacrifice became a powerful symbol of Allied courage and atrocity, leading to the erection of her statue as a memorial. In 1700, Solomon de Medina was the first from which religion to receive a knighthood? Judaism. Sir Solomon de Medina, a prominent merchant and army contractor, made history in 1700 as the first openly Jewish person to be granted a knighthood in Britain. This milestone reflected a gradual, albeit limited, shift in societal acceptance and recognition of Jewish contributions, despite prevailing anti-Semitism. In 1917, which queen received the first damehood, the female equivalent of a knighthood? Mary. Queen Mary, consort of King George V, received the first damehood in 1917, specifically the Dame Grand Cross of the Order of the British Empire. This established the formal recognition of women for their achievements and service to the nation through an honor equivalent to a knighthood. Which language gave us the word Germanic? Latin. The term Germanic originates from Latin, primarily through the Roman historian Tacitus's work Germania. It was used to describe the various tribes living beyond the Rhine, forming the basis for the classification of a language family that includes modern German, English, and Dutch. In 1963, President Kennedy was shot in which square in Dallas? Dealey Plaza. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, in Dealey Plaza, Dallas, Texas, while riding in a motorcade. This tragic event remains a pivotal moment in American history, leading to widespread mourning and profound shifts in the nation's political and social landscape. In 1901, Queen Victoria died in which building on the Isle of Wight? Osborne House. Queen Victoria, one of Britain's longest reigning monarchs, died at Osborne House on the Isle of Wight on January 22, 1901. Her passing marked the end of the Victorian era, a transformative period characterized by immense industrial, cultural, political, scientific, and military change in the United Kingdom. What does an aerodrome need to become an airport? Customs. An aerodrome is primarily a facility for aircraft takeoff and landing. For it to be designated an airport, particularly an international one, it requires customs and immigration services to process passengers and cargo crossing national borders, ensuring compliance with international regulations. Which volcano lies between Italy and Sicily? Stromboli. Stromboli is an active volcano located in the Tyrrhenian Sea, north of Sicily, and is part of the Aeolian Islands. It is famous for its continuous, mild explosive eruptions, which have earned it the moniker, Lighthouse of the Mediterranean. The Roman Via Appia ends in which modern coastal city? Brindisi. The Via Appia, or Appian Way, was one of the most ancient and strategically vital Roman roads, built in 312 BC. It connected Rome to Brindisi, a significant port city in southeastern Italy, serving as a primary route for military expansion and trade with the eastern Mediterranean. Lord Kitchener drowned when which ship hit a mine in 1916? HMS Hampshire. Field Marshal Lord Kitchener, the British Secretary of State for War, tragically drowned on June 5, 1916. His ship, the armored cruiser HMS Hampshire, struck a German mine off the Orkney Islands while he was on a diplomatic mission to Russia during World War I. Which name from Greek mythology is given to a pimp? Pandar. The term, Pandar, or Panda, originates from Pandarus, a character in Homer's Iliad and Chaucer's Troilus and Cresside, who facilitates the affair between Troilus and Cresside. Over time, the name became eponymous for someone who caters to or profits from the vices of others, particularly in sexual contexts. Which French phrase describes women who have not fallen totally into a world of vice? Demi-mondaine. The French term demi-mondaine literally translates to half-worlder and refers to women, often of aristocratic background, who lived on the fringes of respectable society in the 19th and early 20th centuries. While not fully courtesans, they engaged in lavish lifestyles often supported by wealthy admirers, blurring the lines between socialite and kept woman. In July 1963, which osteopath was convicted of living off immoral earnings? Stephen Ward. Stephen Ward was a key figure in the 1963 Profumo affair, a major British political scandal that led to the resignation of War Secretary John Profumo. Ward, an osteopath and socialite, introduced Profumo to Christine Keeler, a showgirl. Ward was subsequently convicted of living off immoral earnings, though the conviction was controversial and he died by suicide during his trial. The affair exposed deep-seated social and political tensions in 1960s Britain. Where in Paris would you find the French Foreign Ministry? Quai d'Orsay. The French Ministry of Foreign Affairs is located at Quai d'Orsay in Paris, a riverside street along the Seine. Consequently, Quai d'Orsay is often used as a metonym to refer to the French Foreign Ministry and its diplomatic policies. This practice is common in international relations to refer to key governmental departments by their geographical location. The word refugee first described which Protestants fleeing from France to England? Huguenots. The term refugee gained prominence in English specifically to describe the Huguenots, French Protestants who fled religious persecution in France, particularly after the revocation of the Edict of Nantes in 1685. Their mass exodus to countries like England, Prussia, and the Netherlands solidified the concept of individuals seeking asylum from religious or political oppression. In which eastern county is Home Fen, the lowest point in the UK? Cambridgeshire. Home Fen is located in Cambridgeshire, England, and is recognized as the lowest point in Great Britain, sitting at approximately 2.75 meters, 9 feet below sea level. It is part of the Great Fen Project, a major conservation initiative aiming to restore a vast area of wetland. The fen's extremely low elevation is a result of peat shrinkage over centuries due to drainage for agriculture.